possibly my favorite solemnity, my favorite feast in the entire calendar of the church, because I love the Holy Spirit. Now, I was brought up in the Catholic charismatic renewal, and so I was introduced to the Holy Spirit early on in my spiritual journey. And for me, the Holy Spirit was always introduced to me as a person. Now, let me try and explain this quickly before I want really to talk to you today about living in the Spirit. But in order to understand that, in order to know whether you are living in the Spirit of God or not, you need to know who the Holy Spirit is. See, the Holy Spirit for me, and even for the church, has never been a dove or a fire or a stream of water. The Holy Spirit is a person. He's the third person of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. That means the Holy Spirit has a will just as much as the Father has a will, and has an intellect just as much as the Father has and the Son has an intellect. He has a personality just as much as the Father and the Son. And probably we'll talk about this next week during Holy Trinity Sunday. But how do you know if you are living in the will of the Spirit, in the presence, in the power of the Holy Spirit? Well, I think the secret's given to us in the book of Galatians, when there's talk about the fruit of the Spirit. You know, how do I know? Many people come and ask, Father, how do I know that I'm doing God's will, if I'm doing God's will, if I'm living in the Spirit? Well, it depends. The way to measure that is to see the fruit of the Spirit. St. Paul says the fruit of the Spirit is love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, generosity, and self-control. I might have missed one there. But the fruit of the Spirit, how do you know you're living in the Spirit? Let's talk about a few of them. Love. Are you living in love? Is your vocation, is your life a life of love? Now, love is not a feeling. Love is an action. Love is an act of the will. I choose to be generous. I choose to be kind. I choose to serve the other, even when I'm not being served. Love is not a feeling. Where do you find your strength to love? If you're living in love towards others, then that's a sign, a definite sign that you're living in the Spirit. Let's talk about joy and peace. Are you a person of joy? Now again, joy is different to happiness, to a feeling good. You can be going through the worst times of depression and anxiety and still live in joy. You see, joy is connected with peace because it's an understanding that things are going to be okay. It's an understanding that God is in control. Only the Spirit can trigger this in you to give you the knowledge that He is in control, that it's going to be okay. You take Mother Teresa, so many people, even we know through her readings that she lived a life with depression and anxiety constantly, but yet everyone around her felt her joy and her peace everywhere she went. Another fruit of the Spirit is generosity. How do you know if you're living in the Spirit? Father, should I be a priest? Should I get married? Well, the question I ask you is, what of those two is going to make you more generous? You see, because where there's the Spirit, there's an extravagance of generosity. The Martha who encountered Jesus, and the thing is, she was so filled with the Spirit, with the love of God, that she broke the alabaster jar and was extravagant in worship towards Jesus. What is making you more generous towards Jesus and towards others? That's another sign that you're living in the Spirit. Another one that I like is patience. Now, patience is not the ability to wait, to sit, but the patience is at the end of the day, who are you living for? Who are you waking up for? You see, what if your day is interrupted? I have a whole planned day, and all of a sudden someone knocks at the door, and your day is thrown off because this person has come to the door. Now, are you going to look at that as, oh my goodness, they've thrown off my plans, and you get frustrated and angry? Or are you going to live in the moment in patience? You see, if you're living for yourself, everything's going to be inconvenient. Everyone is going to be inconvenient. and you're going to lose your patience. Even sickness and pain in your own life, that's going to be an inconvenience. But if you are living in the Spirit, in generosity, whatever comes your way, that cannot steal away your joy and your peace and your love. And then there's amongst the other fruit is self-control. You see, is your life ordered to love, or is it ordered to yourself? Self-control is about looking outwards. These are the fruit of the Spirit. You know, we're called to live for others. We're called to live for love. We're called to live with the fruit of the Spirit. Are you bringing love to others? Are you bringing joy, peace, and patience, kindness, goodness, generosity, self-control? Well, if you are, then that's a sure sign that you're living in the Spirit. None of us are perfect. We're far from perfect, but the Holy Spirit helps us to live in the fruit of God. So this is the thing that we need to ask. If you lack in any of those fruit, and you think, man, I'm far away from the Spirit, well, there's one solution. And Jesus tells us this, that we need to ask for the Holy Spirit. Veni Sancto Spiritu. Come, Holy Spirit. Come and help us live in your Spirit. Help us live in your power. Help us live in the fruit of your Spirit. And so let's just pray together. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for your love. We invite you into our hearts. We invite you into our lives. Teach us, mold us to live in your Spirit.